Hello, how are you all doing today? Alright, so this video is about the possible deportation of illegals. Today I watched the whole speech of Trump in Vegas, and I would just like to say it was interesting, inspiring. I do feel a little bit bad for Biden though. I think he should be like a little bit nicer. But it's understandable that he has some anger because the trial and that the last election was rigged. Which, it's interesting, he did say that there could be the same kind of paperwork issues and reasons for a trial with Biden, but they said they won't have him go because he's too old, which is really not fair. It's like discrimination based on age. Which, this is interesting. Trump is actually 77, Biden is 81, so they're almost the same age. Alright, anyways, I was going to talk about deportation of illegals. Now, one thing I think we should be cautious about is that we don't want to make it like a Mexican Holocaust. Because I can just imagine that this is what happened in the Holocaust, and this is what I'm picturing happening a lot in Texas. I'm actually not too far from the Mexican border, and there's a lot of Mexicans in my neighborhood. I don't know if they're legal or not. I've actually always wondered. But okay, like the men, it would be easy to pick up the men when they go to work, you know. And basically, then I suppose it would be the National Guard. They would just go to a company, ask the manager or CEO which of your employees are illegal, and then they would just arrest them when they come to work that day, which would be quite sad. But anyways, that's a possible method for doing that. But then what do you do with the women and children? And what I was picturing was like, you know, National Guard people going door to door and asking people for their identification, and if they don't have it, then they drag them away. And I mean, worst case scenario, you know, the National Guard would be like kicking in doors and pulling out, which I really don't want to see that. Anyways, what I think would be the most logical method would be if someone is arrested and they are illegal, then obviously we should send them back to their original country. Here's kind of a joke that I just came up with, but it actually could work. Depending on who's running the world soon, you know, everybody goes to Walmart or grocery stores, so you could like card people at the door of Walmart and say, let me see your ID. And I think that illegals can get some form of identification, but it probably says that they're illegal. So if their ID says that they're illegal, then you could like load them up in a truck, like a semi-truck, take them down to Miami, and then put them on a boat pointed towards Cuba. But the question is, would Cuba be willing to accept those citizens? I don't know. And what would prevent them from, well, I guess you would have guards on the boat making sure that they make it to Cuba. But who's to say that the illegals are originally from Cuba? I think we do have a lot of Cuban citizens here, which makes sense. And it's kind of sad, actually, though, if we do send them back, because it is communist, and they came over here because of that, because they're trying to escape. You know, and then I have some sympathy for, like, Mexicans, because I've been down to Mexico quite a few times, and it's very sad. I worked on a cruise ship, and we did the Mexico cruise 4 times, the 1-week cruise, leaving out of San Diego, and I don't remember which port it was, but it just looked miserable. I mean, it probably looked like Africa looks, like just everything was brown and rusty. I think there was graffiti everywhere, and I was like, why would anybody get off the boat here to go walk around over there? No, thank you, I would not, no. But I was a worker, so I had to stay on the boat anyways. I was working with the children. Anyways, I just hope that if this actually happens, that it won't be like really, really dramatic, you know. But I do think that we should like solve this problem, because I think we do have a lot of illegals. But then I was thinking, what if like 1/3 of our country is illegals, and then we would lose like a lot of people, you know. And then what would that do to our economy? Because I think like a lot of them build the houses and a lot of them work in the oil fields, which are very practical jobs. And I will say that the American citizens probably don't want to build houses or go work in the oil field. So that could be an issue. That's something to think about, you know. If we deport all the Mexicans, then who's going to work in the oil field? And if no one works in the oil field and no one pumps American oil, then gas prices will go way up because we'll have to get gas from the Middle East. And if we deport all the Mexicans, who's going to build the houses? But I will say, I hope that if that happens and white people build the houses or whatever race, I hope that they're actually trained, because I bought a house with my ex-husband and I think that's one thing that caused our divorce, was the house just wasn't built very well. The sink in the guest bathroom got mold all around it, like because it wasn't sealed, you know, the counter was not sealed fully on top of like the sink bowl, basin, whatever you call it. So there was like black mold, so I like taped it, you know, but it was disgusting. And black mold is very, very bad for your health. And then in our master bathroom, I don't know what happened, but there was like mold behind the wall that was developing because I don't know if there was like a leak in the pipe or what, but there was like a leak. Anyway,